What's up, lords and ladies? Welcome back to another video on this channel. So in today's video, I wanted to make a video to cater to anyone out there who just got a ball python. Many of you who came to the Reptile Expo over the weekend were asking me, how do I set up a ball python? Setting up a ball python is super easy and it's also super inexpensive. So today I'm going to be sharing with you how to set up a ball python for under $100. So if you're planning on putting together a temporary enclosure for your ball python, just also keep in mind that this is temporary, because most of the times, you'll see certain setups that are just either way too small or just not ideal for a ball python, and it's not properly made. But this container here for a baby ball python is pretty much perfect. The one thing that I don't like about these containers is that it's see-through, but I'm going to show you a little hack that you can do to make this a little bit more appealing. That way, anyone out there using clear tub containers could get away with using it for their ball pythons. So as you can see right here, we got just this container, and I got a whole bunch of different stuff that I got from the dollar store. And the very first thing that you want to do to this container is, of course, add holes. But because I'm gonna use this for something else, I'm not gonna add anything right away. But we got some decorations, we got something that I'm gonna try to use for a hide. Everything, I pretty much purchased it from the dollar store. So let's see what I could put together, and then I'm gonna go over exactly what I got. Okay, so right here we got the build of this enclosure for a ball python. Like I mentioned, this is a temporary setup that you could put together, and I'll kind of go over exactly what I did here. So this whole entire thing probably cost under $20 at the dollar store, and really the most expensive things were probably these plants that were a whopping $2 each. I don't know what kind of dollar store sells items that are not $1, but Dollarama, shout outs to Dollarama and inflation, woohoo! But pretty much what we got here is this enclosure that I put together. And what I did, if you notice, it was see-through, which usually isn't a problem, but sometimes with baby ball pythons, that causes them to stress out a little bit. But what I did was I got a little bit of this Bristol board that you could get at the dollar store, and I blackened the sides, so just completely dark all around. And that just gives you a little bit more of security, especially when you put the lid on. Last thing you want is, your ball python to feel intimidated by its surrounding. Imagine you putting this, in your living room or somewhere in your bedroom, and it's just exposed all around. So you definitely want to blacken the sides, the back, just like how I did here. And another thing that's important is a hide. So I purchased this hide at the dollar store, and really what it was a container like this that I cut out a hole, and then I filed it down that there is no sharp edges that the ball python could get cut on. As you can see, I am rubbing my finger on it, and it's not cutting me. As you can see, I have no cuts, so perfect. And then of course I got a water dish, some decoration, and for substrate, usually I would go and use coconut fiber or some loose substrate that you could spot clean. But in this case, I'm just gonna put some paper towels. You could do that too, or like I said, if you have access to coconut fiber, then definitely use that. And one thing that is very important for this setup is some sort of heat. This right here is Exoterra's heat pad that goes underneath the enclosure. This one's a little bit bigger because I am planning on using it for a different setup, so stay posted for that. But this right here would go underneath the ball python. This one might actually work, but as you can see, it's a little bit big, so I'd actually get a size smaller to this one, and I'll have it underneath. However, do not make this mistake of just plugging it straight to the wall. Even though these don't get extremely hot, you can have accidents happen where it just malfunctions and it actually skyrockets and it gets way too hot and it burns your ball python. Especially baby ball pythons, they cannot take that much heat. So don't just plug this into the wall. What I would recommend is to get a thermostat. Now you might be thinking, well, how is that gonna be under $100? There's thermostats out there made by Inkbird. I'll put a link in the description that you could purchase on Amazon that is really inexpensive and it works perfectly fine for a setup like this. Now, if you wanna get something a little bit more fancier, then you could get yourself, those fancy Wi-Fi thermostats that connect to your phone and you could actually see and even control some of the temperatures just straight off of your phone. But this kind of way, it stays under budget and you could keep your ball python in a setup like this and you could put as much decorations as you can. I like keeping it simple, especially the first couple days that I have my ball python. That way I can, actually see how it does and how it's doing. So right here I have rotisserie chicken. Yep, that's this little guy's name. Okay, no, it's not really, but this right here is actually going to a new home. I'm actually meeting up with them later today. So if you're watching this, this is your little guy. And this is not gonna be the enclosure that I'm gonna be giving them, but I figured I would just show a quick temporary enclosure that you could do for these little guys. Like I mentioned, I did vend the Reptile Expo and there was a lot of people asking like, hey, how could I just do a temporary setup while I, get everything together? This is a pretty simple setup that you can do, and you just need to pop the lid. Make sure the lid is secured. The last thing you want is them to go all over the place. Also, like I mentioned, make sure you have holes in them, and also watch your ball python. Make sure that it's not stressed, that it's not striking. And the benefits of having the blacked out sides is that the front is the only thing that is kind of exposed, so you can still see your ball python, but having the sides darken out like that allows them to feel a little bit more secure. They're not exposed to the elements on the sides or at the back. And like you see, he's just going straight into his hide. These guys feed once a week, sometimes even once every other week, so they're super easy to take care of. So if you definitely are looking to get a cool ball python or a cool pet, definitely let me know. I could definitely provide you some with some cool ones. And he's just chilling there now. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, if you're looking for a full care guide to keeping a ball python, I could definitely make one. Today, I just wanted to make a quick kind of tutorial or just how to build a simple setup for a ball python, especially if you just got one and, hopefully before you got one, you had a setup, because that's the right way to approach it. But don't worry if you happen to stumble across some issues with the setup that you were building and you just need a temporary home. Sometimes accidents happen. I've had it in the past that the door of my enclosure breaks and now I just don't have a glass door to keep this little guy from escaping. So I need to pretty much just build a temporary enclosure, or you need something like, for instance, right now I'm transporting him to his new home, and before that he's gonna be not in his element, not in my reptile room for a couple hours. So I'm like, what, this is a perfect opportunity to make a temporary enclosure and have him nice and warm, so that way when I meet with the person later today, I could actually provide them the ball python, even though he would have been fine. But hey, two birds, one stone. I could make a temporary enclosure I could keep with me. But like I said, super easy to build. Let me know in the comments section down below any questions you might have regarding ball pythons or any other reptiles. But with that being said, that is it for today's video. I'm Lord of Lion. Keep the blood pumping, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Here we go.
You gotta hit that notification, hit that notification, hit that notification button, baby. You gotta hit that notification, hit that notification, hit that notification button, baby. You gotta hit it right, hit